Right now, FBI Louisville says they are aware of at least 20 gangs operating in the city. At least 30% of Metro's violent crime can be traced back to one of them. And it's not just here in Jefferson County feeling the impacts. Federal investigators confirm gang members from Louisville are engaging in criminal acts across Jefferson, Oldham, Shelby, Henry, and Trimble counties. More than 1,500 line technicians and support personnel from surrounding states have now joined with LG&E to help in the recovery efforts. Look at the latest numbers on your screen from LG&E, showing nearly 38,000 in the dark here in Jefferson County alone. But that number is down more than 30,000 from last night. And officials are urging caution as people continue to clean up debris. Avoid downed power lines because they can remain energized for days. They also want to remind everyone that removing debris can be very dangerous work, especially with the tools you use to clean up that storm damage. A man is dead after his motorcycle hit a car this afternoon. Police say just before 5 this evening, they responded to the crash at 29th and Broadway. After several bills advanced this week in the General Assembly that impact the LGBTQ community, activists here in Louisville are rallying against the bills they call discriminatory. Senate Bill 47 received a committee assignment this week. The bill looks to establish a program for cultivation and use of medical marijuana. The Police Activities League basketball program wrapped up today with a championship tournament. The league was created to allow kids to interact with police officers in a positive setting. The ultimate goal is to provide mentorship and foster friendships to help build relationships with the community. Well, it's a festival you can really tap into. The Tailspin Ale Fest took flight in Bowman Field today for its 10th year. After the break, we'll take you there. Long before the days of DoorDash and Uber, driving customers around in your personal car or running errands for others in exchange for cash was illegal. A WHAS 11 investigation found one woman persistently violating the taxi regulations. Well, Charlie Reed closed these doors back in September, and now he's looking toward the future. He says this comes after several altercations right here on 5th and Jefferson. Now he's looking forward to focusing on his food and keeping his customers happy. Hundreds of fans came here to Lynn Family Stadium, some cheering, some silent as they watched Lou City play tonight. But before they even got into the stadium, they had to walk past these stairs where you see tons of chalkings. One of them, you didn't protect them. That was their main message, calling for more accountability and transparency within the organization. Political leaders, nonprofits, and others in Louisville pledged to keep sending supplies and showing their solidarity. And look, a lasting symbol has been this flag, which has been flying here at Metro Hall since March 1st of last year. Well, we know that 3 surgeries have been performed here today. That's on those 3 victims that are in critical condition. We know that one of them is 26-year-old Nicholas Wilt, a rookie officer who ran into the building to protect people. And you might see an LG&E crew behind me working to restore power. There were more than 3,000 reported outages in the area earlier tonight, but now there are less than 200. Now, Stacy Connard and her children don't physically come to the track. Instead, they watch the excitement at home and place their bets online. It's a tradition they've had for years, choosing the horse whose name they like the best and which one resonates most with them. The Coast Guard says there are several things you must do before hitting the water Saturday, including wearing a life jacket. Police say instead of meeting at a random place like this, it's best to meet at places like this, the Exchange Safe Zone outside of the St. Matthews Police Department. 32. That's how many bullets one Louisville family says rang through their home early Sunday morning. The evidence still on the counter. You simply open the box, place the baby inside, and close it. And look, you can see on the other side of this wall that it can only be opened from inside the fire station. You pull up to a hole, ready to have a good time. But that's when the LMPD says thieves have been targeting unattended carts, stealing items right under golfers' noses. People we spoke to say holidays are meant to be spent with loved ones, no matter where you are. Whether it's friends, family, or co-workers. While Poston says the king can never be replicated, he says it's not hard to feel like him in one of these suits. Dot says it was just how she remembers it. good food, and good music. A vigil still here at Old National Bank to pay honor to the victims. But long after the flowers fade and everything is gone, local physician and peace activist Dr. Muhammad Babar says the best way to pay lasting tribute is gun reform.
This is the least we can do in their memory to do something to prevent that there is no other senseless killing.
After giving a passionate speech at a memorial for the victims of Old National Bank and a separate shooting that same day on 8th and Chestnut.
That it does not matter whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, whether you live in urban spaces or rural communities, whether you own a gun or not. Please do something.
Babar says he knew he had to act, so he started a petition for what he calls common sense gun reform. The 5 asks: expand mental health programs, improve mental health screenings, limit assault-style weapons.
We are not using the word ban, we are just asking to limit it. That if there are hunters, people who really are into it, they should be able to get it, but after a due process.
Establish a waiting period between gun purchases and possession.
Imagine that a citizen is having a mental health crisis. They go and buy the gun. Right now they can buy it the same day if they are not convicted.
Eliminate auctions of guns confiscated by police. They're all points organizations like the Louisville Urban League and the NAACP have made in the past week as well.
We are not asking that you just go after the guns or just after the mental health. We want a holistic solution, and this solution not going to be achieved in the first month or first year, but at least we need to take a first step in the right direction.
Babar says he's spoken to Democrats and Republicans about the petition and has garnered support. And to those who don't think their constituents have the appetite for gun reform, he says
they are just using these excuses. If they engage their constituents and on some common sense gun laws, I think the folks in rural communities will wholeheartedly agree with that.
Because gun violence doesn't stop in the metro. In Louisville, Bobbi McSwine, WHAS 11 on your side. The entire wall on this Dash Mart building on Robards Lane, gone. The exposed building showing stacks of food meant for DoorDash customers and empty cubicles where employees work.
Oh my gosh, we had a tornado go through Louisville. I mean, you see the back wall, this warehouse destroyed. We have power poles behind you that were snapped and bent.
At the scene, John Gordon with the National Weather Service says the suspected 90-mile-per-hour EF1 tornado caused a lot of damage.
And I'm thankful no one got hurt. It's flying debris that kills people, and there's insulation and pieces of this building that are way over there, over 100 yards away.
Gordon saying he wouldn't be surprised if more tornadoes are confirmed. A few miles away on Heather Lane, a home for sale that was set to close later this week, sustaining major damage.
We did not hear that tree fall. Never did.
Neighbors say the former owner was a priest who passed away.
I feel so sorry for him. I said, that's heartbreaking.
For their former neighbor and the excited would-be owner. But they're glad to see a silver lining.
No one was in the home. The new people weren't there, and thank God Father wasn't there. You know, just, yes, that is a great blessing.
Another blessing. The family inside this Audubon Park home says they were uninjured by this huge tree that fell on their roof, lifted by its roots. Another storm-ravaged building along the Watterson, a Thornton's gas station on Poplar Level Road. Debris flying from the roof, landing in the middle of the street. Quincy Dye hoped his favorite fuel stop would be open.
And so I definitely didn't expect to see all the debris out in the street.
For now, he'll gas up elsewhere. Now, the National Weather Service says it will be back out tomorrow to survey more areas. As you heard, PRP will be one of those areas they will be out looking at. For now, I'm live in Louisville. Bobbi McSwine, the WHAS 1119 on your side. Boxing, hailed as the sweet science in the sporting world, an event honoring the man behind the ropes, Fred Stoner. His granddaughter, Siobhan, happy to see his legacy remembered.
I mean, he didn't get his accolades while he was alive, so the whole event is called Freddie Flowers, so you have to give people their flowers while they're alive. Don't wait till they leave. The celebration right outside of where Stoner trained some of the best, including Muhammad Ali. Loaded with food, music, and games, the entire event is something Siobhan says Stoner would have done himself, giving back to the community. Several young boxers from various gyms in Louisville sparring to mark the occasion. Freddie still lives.
Everything that he stood for was being mindful.
Demetrius McDowell is also an organizer. He says it's important for young people to know about Stoner and everything he represented. Young boxer Amari the Tank Alexander says he understands and knows the lessons learned in the ring can be used in life.
It's important for we can change the community, change the way everything's going on.
While Stoner did train the greatest of all time, he also led the way for other great boxers, not just by showing them how to move in the ring, but how to make an impact in the community.
He looked after us like a father.
90-year-old Thomas Bishop Jr. trained under Stoner and was happy to see his former coach celebrated.
And I just admire him so much that I asked him I had to come.
Mayor Greg Fisher also showing support at the event, which is a part of the many Juneteenth celebrations leading up to the holiday on Sunday. Earlier, speaking at a luncheon, he apologized for historical wrongdoings toward the black community on behalf of himself and the city of Louisville.
I take responsibility for the system that I've been elected to lead, both the past and the present.
Looking toward the future, Louisville's black community hopes black voices continue to be elevated, Stoners and countless others. In Louisville, Bobbi McSwine for the WHAS 11 team on your side. Every year, Louisvillians and thousands of visitors across the world tip their hats to the greatest 2 minutes in sports. But for more than 40 years, one local organization has been using the fanfare to award and celebrate graduates right here at the downtown convention center as they embark on a new journey.
I like this picture.
What picture?
That one. Look at how happy she is.
This was actually my first day of preschool. I did not want to go, as you can see in my face.
It's hard not to reflect when you reach a milestone. This one, the culmination of teenage years, high school graduation. Peyton Bush set to receive her diploma from Manual.
I didn't get nervous until maybe a few days ago because it didn't really hit me.
And Aaliyah Allen from Eastern.
I'm feeling a bit nervous and tired.
Both girls are ready to start a new chapter, and they're grateful for support from the Hortons B. Perry Foundation in partnership with the Eta Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
She was an educator. Her lifelong task was educating the population.
Foundation Vice President Mary Stoddard says that mission has been carried for 42 years, collecting around $70,000 annually to help send girls like Bush and Allen to college, and then celebrating them Derby style at their annual scholarship brunch.
One of the things that was most memorable for me was a young lady who indicated that she had never even heard of college. Her goal at that time was to graduate from high school.
President Christy McCravey says this year's $45,000 scholarship pot is less than years past due to COVID restrictions, but she knows every bit helps.
We get beautiful thank you notes that tell us how they would not have been able to fill the gap if they did not receive the scholarship.
It's why Bush and Peyton worked so hard on their essays. And now, being awarded during a time when the world's eyes are on Derby makes it even more special.
It just shows little black girls that someone is writing for them.
Seeing that we were able to celebrate it during Derby time is also a very fun experience because it shows that we mean a lot as well.
The Eta Omega chapter will also break ground on its new headquarters this year. They'll host community events and raise more scholarship money. In Louisville, Bobbi McSwine, WHAS 11 on your side.